What's up, everybody? Today is Wednesday, and we're going to look at the markets. We are halfway through the week, so we're going to check out and see what type of structure we're getting following that massive liquidation event, the biggest in history. I believe that was the bottom. Anytime you get a major event like that, it usually marks the bottom. Like, for example, you have C19 right there. That was pretty much the bottom. But if you notice, we had the largest liquidation event in crypto history, bigger than C19. However, if you look at Monero, you could see right here, it barely did anything at all. That tells me there's a lot of strength here, all right? Because, it's interesting where it happened. Because if you look at this is your reaccumulation box right here. First of all, you have a big bull run, all right? You come down, you make a bottom, and then you make a double bottom. So Monero back in the day actually had the W model, which is the Ethereum model, or the Total 3 model, right? You could see that right over here with Total 3, where we had this W, boom. So this is a very bullish thing because you have a double bottom. Here's your bottom, boom, double bottom, fly up to the upside. And that's what I'm hoping that Theta can do instead of having to go into reaccumulation. So what's interesting is that, technically it was a pretty big run for Monero. Let's see, from the bottom, or we'll start at the base, more realistic. That was about a 10x move last cycle for Monero, but it didn't even go into price discovery. So I had a 10x move without even going into price discovery, right? Now, granted, Monero had a monster rally, right, from its inception back in 2015. This thing's been around for a long time, right? Since 2014, I believe. And it's all about privacy, right? And as we enter into this world, this different environment with Trump, right? And there's a lot of people that aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe they're using privacy, right? Maybe that's what the narrative is going to be when this thing explodes to the upside. And you say, well, why do you think it's going to explode? Well, right here is what I'm referring to. We have a double bottom in reaccumulation. That is extremely bullish. And then following that double bottom, this is the monthly chart, by the way, we have this impulse, and then we flagged out. And then we broke out, and then this whole thing, right, broke out, and then we back tested it. So we officially, well, we've been halved it. So, but we really have a double bottom, right? And so, boom, boom. So, but this double bottom is different than this double bottom over here, because this double bottom, you got a 10x move out of it, but you probably could have got more if it would have consolidated sideways longer. So we are starting from a higher point, right? We're starting from here instead of way down here. So it's going to be harder to get a 10x. However, since we had such a massive rally here, right? And then we had this double bottom, we only got a little bit of a rally there. So it makes me think that, well, we really didn't go into price discovery, which means if we take this and we look at this whole thing as a range, now we have 7+ years of range, right? And then within that, we have the rise, crash, retrace. You come down into reaccumulation, you go sideways, and then you break out. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. That's how it usually goes, right? If we look at XLM, or not XLM, if we look at, well, yeah, XLM as well, you have that same thing, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You go sideways, and look, we're already starting to blast off. But Monero's chilling way down here, right? So if we look at XRP, you can see back in the day, you had the same sort of structure in here, right? You had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. And that's exactly what's happening now. You can see the same thing, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Look at that, we're blasting off. So it's got that structure. So there's two ways I've noticed, right? So you have your bull market, and if you have a massive bull market, then what happens is you most likely come down very, very hard. You crash, you have a little bit of a bounce, and then you come back and you have a double bottom, and then you rally up. But most of the time, that rally is short lived. You know, and for an Ethereum's example, it wasn't, but that's Ethereum, right? And that went on to a 4.236 extension. But essentially, you know, you get these big rallies and you get double bottoms in here, right? And then you go on and continue higher. Or what I like even better, what takes more time, but there's more assurance, there's more confidence in the move, is that when you get these big rallies and then you get a big dump, maybe come back into a retrace, and then you have to, you know, kind of come back down into reaccumulation, and then you go sideways, right? Just like that. And then you break out versus, you know, having to have a double bottom and then break out. There's so much more time involved in this compared to this, right? So that's why XRP was my biggest holding. That's why I've been talking about XRP since the creation of this channel. But really, I've been talking about it for much longer than that. So, yeah, I've never been more bullish in my life than when XRP was back over here because of what it printed here. Now, we're going to look at this. See, this was a double bottom, and then we had another double bottom, right? So we had two accumulation ranges, really, right? And this one here, you could see we had an A, a B, and a C. Blast off, flag out, continue higher. Okay, so remember that. So now if we look at Monero, right? And we're going to look at Theta, we're going to look at Bitcoin, we're going to look at XRP. So sit tight. Look at this. We have a double bottom, right? We have somewhat of an impulse. I don't like this as much. I mean, I do because it's now I have 5 waves. But when we were here, we only had 3. But look at this. We had an impulse, and then we flagged out. Just like what XRP did, right? And then we broke out, we back tested, and now we're continuing to go higher. The only thing I don't know about Monero, and I could be right, I could be wrong, it's really hard to know, is if this right here, this structure right there, is that a B wave? Or is this a nest of 1-2s about to pop to the upside? That I don't know. So for example, if it is a B wave, then we're getting a flat, right? And by the way, that it could be already finished, right? Because we have this move down, so 3 down, and then we have 3 up, and then we have 3 back down. So we have a WXY. It's a running flat. It's finished. It's complete. And now we pumped up, and now we're going to flag out a little bit and then continue higher. So that would be the main bullish idea for the bulls, right? Now for the bears, or for when I say bear, I mean short-term bear, you have 3, and this whole thing is 3, right? 1, 2, 3. So you have 3, 3, and 3, which equals 3, right? And then you have 1, 2, 3 down. So the flat isn't finished. Basically, it's going to be like this, like that, and then go up, because that is a classic flat, right? So there you go. I don't know which one's it going to be. I think it's finished. I don't think we have to come down here again. I think it's finished. That's why I'm kind of, now that some time has passed, I'm glad that liquidation event happened because it reset the market, it reset the momentum, it reset the oscillators, it deleveraged the entire market, it crushed the sentiment, and at the end of the day, once the dust settles, the price is exactly where it was right before it crushed to the downside. So it had all of those factors, and that's what makes me really bullish, because when you want to get a big move in here, right, this is looking really serious, right? You got a 1 2, another 1, a 2, 1 2, another 1, another 2, right? And then you have 1 2 1 2 1 2. I mean, this is a hornet's nest of 1 2s. If my thesis is correct, I could be wrong. This is not financial advice. Monero could go to 0 and you can lose all your money if you're in Monero. So who knows, right? But from what I see in my thinking is that this thing is getting primed for something that I don't understand, right? Because it doesn't look like any other chart. Monero, that's what makes me attracted to it. Like XRP looked completely different than the rest of the market. But if you look at something like Filecoin and Avalanche and, coins like that, Cosmos, whatever, they all look the same. They're all the same type of structures, right? Even Theta in some instances. So when I find a chart that is completely different and it's also screamingly bullish, it makes me think it's doing something of its own. A very good example of that is Chainlink when it went in its first cycle. Chainlink was one of the best returns I've ever had in a coin, which was Chainlink, and that thing was unbelievable. So, because of the different structure, right? So, anyways, we'll look at Link in a little bit, but yeah, let's take a look at the small time frames now. So, if we look at let's go down to the 4 hour even, you could see here's a big flat right here, right there. Boom, boom, boom. This is an expanded flat, right? And then you have an impulse, exactly what we thought. And now you're flagging out exactly what we thought. So once this is finished flagging out, we really wanted to see it to continue higher, right? Now, the good thing about Monero is versus XRP is the difference for XRP is way the hell up here. So it's a little bit more scary because you're way higher up there as far as the risk level is concerned. So when you have a flat or just a regular three-wave pullback and then you pump up and then you flag out, it could be nerve-wracking if we take that low out versus if we take this low out, you got all this support down here, support, 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 support. I mean, it goes back years, right? Because this thing goes back years. Look at all those months down there, all these months. This goes all the way back for a while. Look at this, and that's another reason why it's so bullish, because of where it currently is compared to the rest of the market. So I have no connection to Monero. I don't even understand. Like Monero is so boring. Like, who cares? Like, Monero, like, it's like, but it is what it is. I can't explain it. It's just, it is what it is. Like, if it was, Theta doing this, it would make more sense. Or if it was like Avalanche or something like Solana, or I don't know, just something that made more sense, then, So, let's look a little bit closer and let's continue on to the rest of the market. So you could say, well, who cares about Monero? I don't own it, so what do I care? Well, here's the thing. So if you look at Monero, or if Monero does what I think it's going to do, then you should care, because that is telling a story for what other coins could potentially do. So if Monero is looking like it's going to do something very interesting, then there's a high probability that other charts, other coins will do as well. All right, so if we look here, I do have 5 waves. This is really good, guys. This is really good. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, so here's the 30-minute chart. We got a 1, 2. We got a 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. We have an A. Looks like a B to me. And maybe a C, but I don't like the way the C looks. It could be an A, B, C, and it could be finished. This could be a wave 1. Now we're flagging out for a wave 2. So this is 1, this is 2. And this is 1, 2 of the third. Then we're going to get 3 of 3, 4 of 3, 5 of 3. And that whole thing is done. 1, 2, 3, then 4, then 5. I don't know. I think it's still very early to know. Like, for example, this could be 3 down like this, right? So you would get 3. I mean, that kind of looks like 5, but we'll say 3. And then you have 3 up, and then you get 3 down. So it looks more proportional, right? Or you could say that this is not 3. What if this is only 3 and this is a flat? And then we have 3 up and then we get 3 back down. So we have 3 up, 3 down, but I'd still be looking for 5 up. So, regardless, you know what I mean? So if we take a Fibonacci retracement level, this is how you know if your coin is strong or weak. What you do is you take the crash. So here's Monero's crash. It's unique to its own, right? You take the crash, and then we're going to go all the way here. We're going to go all the way down. Okay, so currently, right now, Monero got all the way back to the 886, just about. Okay, I haven't seen any coin on the planet get back to the 886. All right, it's just not there. So currently, it's right around, it's flagging out in the 786, 702, 618. Okay, so let's just go, for example, I don't know, maybe Chainlink here. All right, so we'll go to Chainlink. Let's zoom out, and then we're going to do the exact same thing. And we're going to see which one looks better. So we're going to take the same thing from the crash, from the top of the crash, all the way down. And you could see Monero went all the way back to the 886, and it's flagging out up here. Chainlink is flagging out way down here below the 618, and it had a bigger crash. So which one has more strength? Which one has more bullishness? Which one's better? Right? Well, I shouldn't say better, but which one's stronger? Right? That's what it's all about. That's what I've been noticing. And for example, when we have these big dumps in Monero or in the rest of the market, Monero seems to be kind of holding its own. Now, that hasn't always been the case with Monero, just like it hasn't always been the case with XRP that we're seeing a lot of strength, because it used to be, it's all about rotations, right? So maybe in 2019, you have XYZ coin very, very strong. And then in 2022, you have ABC coin very, very strong. And now XYZ coin is very, very weak. So they always rotate, just depends on what's going on. That's why as an analyst, I have to observe which coins are strong and which ones are weak, which ones have good retracements, which ones have shallow retracements, right? So, all right, let's do the same thing with, like, for example, SHIB. Now, SHIB, I mean, it's probably at the 50. I don't even have to look at it. Just, I could tell you right there. That's probably below the 50 for ICP. All right, let's look at Theta. Theta is below the 50 as well. So you can see how weak it is compared to something like Monero. Yep, right there. Right below the 50. Didn't even have to look at it. So it doesn't, you can say, well, then what's the point of holding Theta? Well, like, why am I holding it? Well, there's going to come a time where that's not the case, right? So the way you can look at it is, like, let's say this is the top here, right there, as you go up. Well, what you can say is Monero or whatever coin is closer to the target, which means less percentages, versus theta down here. If it were to get to that same level, you're going to have more distance, which equals more percentages, right? But on the flip side, it's going to be harder for theta to get there versus something like Monero because of it, because it's closer to the distance. This has nothing to do with fundamentals. It has, I'm not comparing the two coins, the two technologies. I'm just comparing the two charts, right? So it doesn't really matter what the coin is. It all matters really about the chart. But I love the theta chart. When you zoom out, it still looks phenomenal. And just remember, theta has a big base, a massive impulse. And I mean, this thing went from pennies all the way up to $15. There's nothing else. There's nothing else like that. I mean, that's absolutely bonkers. I mean, we went from three pennies, all the way up to, $16. That's a 45,000% move. And that just happened not that long ago. So that is why it's struggling more, because of all it exuded. It basically, got all of the momentum left on the table. So basically what we need is time. We need to go sideways, maybe for longer, right? So that it becomes the new normal, right? Because it used to be the normal just back in 2020, 2021 was below, what was that? 25 cents, right? That was the normal for theta for the longest time, below $1, right? So going all the way up to $15, it's completely baffling, right? Which means people have to get used to that $15 or that high price point, right? So the way people get used to it is if it goes sideways for a long period of time. And then people are conditioned, they're complacent to that price, thinking it never will go up. And then you have your next rally to the upside, right? So we want a big, strong, super impulsive rally, but that's why XRP was my biggest holding, because it already went through all the pain. XRP did its chores and theta did not. That's why XRP was allowed to go outside and play with its friends, because theta did not want to do that, right? So, you know what I mean? For example, like XRP had to go through all of this. So you can see for the last just 3.5 years, theta's been going, or XRP's been going sideways, right? That's why XRP is performing so well right now, is because it's, so essentially XRP invested way more time going sideways than theta, right? Because theta's bull runs up here and then it came down, right? And then it's kind of going up and it's in this same spot, right? So we went from 3 pennies all the way up to $15 just in this amount of time, versus XRP bull run ended way later than, or way before that, and it invested all of this time. That's why we see the price movement, right? So I just took the time just to share that with you guys, just so you understand, like, well, how come XRP is doing this, but maybe like Cardano is doing that, or this one is doing that, you know what I mean? So it's all, so when we fast forward into next, like, let's say we have a bull run, then we have another bear market, and then we go on another bull run. Well, the coins that sucked, right, during this bull cycle, if we even get a bull cycle, I think we will, but if whatever coins didn't do so well, maybe they're going to do way better the following cycle, because by the time we have our bear market low, into the next bear market, that's when these coins are going to be more undervalued, right, versus overvalued. So it's all going to be about, well, how does it look, right? And that's why I recommend subscribing, because we're going to get it, this is going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. But we can see without a doubt right now which ones are strong, which ones are weak, which ones have more capability. So if you look at, like, for example, ADA, it's kind of in the middle of where it is. So like you have XRP up here, you have ADA over here, and then you have the rest of the market down here, right? So it's in the mid pack. So, that's kind of the way you have to look at it, right? So anyways, let's go to XRP now, and let's look at the small time frames, and then we'll move on to the other coins. Well, look at that. It's flagging out exactly how we would imagine it. Now, there was two ideas. The first idea was that this would bounce up and then it would come all the way back down, revisit the lows, then kind of play around a little bit, then continue. Something like that. The other idea was this is going to come up and it's going to flag out. We would hit the high and then start to work your way down and then continue higher, right? And then the twist to that one was, well, maybe we just keep firing to the upside. So there's really like three ideas on the table, and now that it's flagging out, it kind of narrows it down to just two. So I'm kind of waiting to see how this is playing out. I don't have I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I don't want. I want 3. Now it could be a WXYXZ, right? So like Monero, I guess you could say this is 5. No, because it's only 3. So I only really have 3 waves. So I have 3 up, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. This could be a diagonal, right? And then we have a 3-wave pullback, and then a continuation to the downside, which could then be an ABC, and then we would get down here. That's when we would need to go sideways, then go back up. But this could be a right here, W, X, Y, X, and Z, right? And you got 3 up, and now this is also considered 3. So then you're going to want to see maybe 3 back up. So then this whole thing becomes 1, 2, 3. And then you would get 3 back down, and then you would go up for 5. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm not sure. It's just not very clear at the moment. But you can kind of see, they're always very difficult when you have that first crash, the first bounce, and then it does all kinds of weird things. But the point is just holding support. I mean, as long as we hold this, we do not want to go back below that, because if we stab it and then come back up, that's fine, which we did. But staying above $2 is critical, right? We don't want to have 2 wicks below $2. You can kind of see right here how you kind of wick down, came back up, and then you had one more wick. That was okay because you were establishing the range. But now the range is already established and you just had the biggest liquidation in history. You do not want to go back below that. It's going to look completely terrible. So even this right here was a WXYX and then a very fast Z, right? Something like that. So usually they're like this, but this one was like this. And it is what it is. So the whole structure itself makes much more sense now that we've had this big dump. Because if you remember before, I was always confused. Let me just put it right there. So you could see we have 1, 2. Look how big wave 2 is. And then you have 3. And then look how small wave 4 is. So I was thinking, well, either number one, it's a small fourth wave, or number two, we're still in the third wave. But come to find out, we were still in the fourth wave, and that's why we have the flat. So we have a 1, we flagged out for a 2, 1, 2, we shot all the way up for a 3, and then we have A, B, C for a 4. Now the size of this wave 4 is in the same realm, the same ballpark, the same degree as this wave 2, right? So now what are we looking for? We're looking for a wave 5, okay? Wave 5. So where is wave 5 going to go? That's always the kicker, right? So now we can measure. I'm going to measure the bottom of wave 3 to the top of wave. No, I'm sorry. The bottom of wave 3 to the top of wave 3 to the bottom of wave 4. Right about there. And we should get a 1618 target of, there you go, 556. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here, about $5 or $6, right? So if we can get more than that, because a lot of times the fifth waves are extended, and we could see a big 4.236 extension, which comes in around $11-12. So, and then you also have so basically here's your, your level 1. That should be a solid target, your level 2, and then your level 3, right? So what you could do, right? And this is kind of what I'm going through in member videos, or at least a few videos back, is looking at that, saying, okay, how would I play this? So if I have 100% of my XRP, right, maybe this one I let go of 25%, right? And then we jump up here, I let go of another 25%. And then we jump up here, I let go of another 25%, right? So you could do it like that. Or another way you could do it, right, is maybe just go 20%, right? And then come up here and go 30%. You see what I mean? So, and then, and then you get up here, and then you can let go of that 40%. So this would be 30, and then this would be 20, and that would equal 90. And then you would just hodl the 10%. Maybe we can have a Hail Mary up to 15 or 20 or even $27 of that log scale 1618, right? So, I mean, it could go way, 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 way higher than that, right? I mean, we just, there's a lot of different ways we can play it. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just what makes sense for the individual. So if you want to know more about stuff like that, consider joining, and where the subscribe button is, and try it out for a month or two and see if it helps. If it doesn't, no big deal. You still get all the videos throughout the week anyway, so it's a unique way to support the channel. I don't do affiliate links. A lot of these traders, they come up here and they throw on their Bybit exchange, their affiliate links and all that. I don't have all that stuff. I'm basically doing, hour-long teaching, videos, as opposed to just shot calling videos. I'm actually going through the structures and sharing that. So I don't get any revenue through the affiliates or anything like that, because I don't do that, or I don't do sponsorships or anything. So becoming a member is just a good way to support the channel, and then always just hitting the like button helps as well. So but I appreciate all you guys, even just for hearing me rant for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever, right? So that's pretty much XRP. I'm looking for this to play around a little bit and then work its way up. Now, the bearish idea is if we break down. And you guys know that if we break this level down, then it's basically game over. Because then that tells me, guys, that tells me without a shadow of a doubt that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done. And this would be an A, this would be a B, and then we would drop very hard for a C. Probably back down to 80, or probably between $1, around that dollar mark, $1 or 80 cents around there. And then build a base, fix itself, and then maybe next year, it would take at least a year to fix itself if it did that. So at that point, I would be just waiting. Maybe even shorting it down. I don't know. It's a tricky one, because think about it like this. You know, if we break the low, right, and then it's like an A, B, and then we're going down, here's your C wave, XRP ETF, blast off. Or something crazy, you know, it's like, well, wait a minute, it just pivoted at a random spot. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things where you just got to pay attention all the time. Because if you stop looking, if I don't look at any charts for 2 days, there's like so much that happens, right? So anyways, let's look at Theta. Theta is basically, here's your accumulation structure, or here's your base. And this base, guys, goes all the way back years, okay? So we're at a very significant level with Theta. And I think this is going to be a very interesting update, because look at this. Look how significant this level is. And Theta, in my opinion, is at a very low risk opportunity compared to something like XRP. On the other hand, XRP is a lot stronger, but as far as long-term goes, Theta, to me, is in a better spot from a risk-adjusted perspective, as far as potential percentages, right? Because if you look at Theta, I don't have my complete Theta chart. Right, here we go. I need the whole thing. So let's just put this right there. There's your backtest zone. This is the top of the range. Remember, this was the range right here. Right there. Right? And then we had your liquidity grab. And then we came up and we shot right into all the support. We came all the way back down, right? And then let me just fix this right here. And we back tested it right there. And then we bounced up, double top pretty much. And then we came back down, and now we're retesting it for a double bottom. So we'll just drag it out even further. So this whole thing from here, that's May 2022, that's over 1,000 days, guys. Theta has been going sideways officially now for 1,000 days. That is exactly what you want to see. So it's not as long as XRP went sideways, but it's still a very significant amount, right? And I like it too because, you know, of the shape. First of all, I have a 3-wave shape. Number 1. Number 2, I have a double bottom, right? Number 3, I have 3 up and 3 down. So I'm looking for 5 up, right? And then also, number 4, you know, we retest our back test and retest. So we back tested the top of this. As long as we stay above this yellow box, we are insanely still bullish long term, right? It's still going to take a little while to fix itself because of how violent that was, you know. So the best thing for it to do is to kind of consolidate in here and start working its way back up here, right? Because this right here is going to be the biggest critical area for Theta to break, right? So again, I'm glad I didn't rotate my XRP yet, right? So if I would have rotated, I would have gotten burned, because look at now, like we're way down here. Now I could do that now and then, but I feel more comfortable getting back, closer to this line and then rotating based off where XRP is at the time. Because I do believe Theta will have bigger percentage gains later, right? So if you look here, and we just go from the bottom all the way up, I mean, just to get back to, $10, you're looking at almost 700% versus something like, XRP is going to take, to get to 700%, I mean, you're looking at, from the bottom here, because that's where I measured Theta, 700%, I mean, you're looking at right about $13. So it's kind of the same, but, I have to ask myself, well, is Theta just going to stop there? Or if it can get back up here, then it has a chance to actually break the all-time high. And I still think it will break the all-time high at some point. It should. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Unless Starlink comes out with something that just basically destroys Theta's whole purpose. Who knows? Technology changes so fast. So we'll see. You know what I mean? But yeah, if we start rounding back up, you're going to have this double bottom in here, right? Bottom, bottom. So we have this double bottom, and then you're going to have this W shape, right? And then you also have this cup and handle that comes back to the top here, right? And yeah, if we could break out of that, we can get back up here. And I think we can. The biggest thing is just trying to get through those retracement levels. Let's take a look at the smaller time frames here, and then also getting back above the bull market support band that we lost. So but yeah, I mean, I'm glad that we didn't take out the low right here. So we have a low, higher low, and another higher low, right? So we went up in 3, and then we came down in 3. So in essence, I think it's finished. I mean, there's a very high probability that it's finished. So now we have 3 up, 3 down. Let's come up here, build a little bit of a base, and then go up in 5. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. On the small time frames, it's a little bit tricky. It's you're starting to get 3 shape. You're getting a 3-wave shape in here, which is good. Maybe a little bit lower. So you get 3 up, you get 3 down, maybe you spike the high again and get a bigger 3, come back down and another bigger 3. It's going to be a washing machine over the next week, probably. So just be aware of that. But other than that, it still looks okay. The damage isn't too bad. Again, when we were over here, I said it doesn't look good, right? When we were over here, I also said it doesn't look right to me. And sure enough, it was a descending triangle, pretty much. And we broke down, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. And then usually what happens is you kind of play around in here, and then you shoot up, and then you flag out, and then you break out. And this whole thing is literally the Bitcoin model, right? Because if you look at Bitcoin, it's the same thing right over here, where you have this descending triangle, right? You break down, and then you build a base, you swoop up, you flag out, and then you continue rocking and rolling, right? So where did Bitcoin go? Well, if I draw a Fibonacci here, we basically hit pretty much the 4.236. Okay, so if we do the same thing with Theta on a much smaller time frame, though, okay, and we take a Fibonacci, and we go right here, and we go all the way down. Where's the 4.236? Look at that, guys. It's at $10. Okay, so that's kind of my thoughts right there. That's kind of where we're going, in my opinion, right? So if, again, Here's your descending triangle. You break down, you come up, and then you flag out, play around a little bit, and then shoot up. There you go. So we'll see if that plays. I don't know. We'll have to see. Again, not financial advice, but that's kind of how I'm looking at it. So just to scout around the rest of the market, let's look at Bitcoin. And yeah, Bitcoin's fine. You know, we have this three-way pullback. We got a pump, and now we're flagging out. So maybe we keep going, or maybe we keep ranging. As long as we're above the bull market support band, I'm a happy camper. XLR pretty much got devastated. But now I see a three-way move, right? So this didn't take the low, which is good. So we have an impulse and then a three-way pullback. So let's go up. You know, let's get that third wave, and it could be life-changing amounts of money, but you're gonna have to wait for it. These are really, 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 really good prices right now, but it's gonna take time to get. When you put money to work, it's like planting a seed in the ground. That seed is not gonna grow into a plant or a tree overnight. It's gonna take time. So plant the seed today and keep watering it, and over the next several whatever, you're going to see it most likely flourish if you pick the right coins, right? So let's look at another one. Aave. Aave looks really good. I mean, it looks beautiful. You built this monster base here, and this is kind of like where Monero is, kind of like right in here. Right? So then you break out, you back test the bull market support band, you come up here, right? And then you have this big three-way pullback, you back test the bull market support band again. It just looks like it's revving up to go into price discovery. I think Aave will go into price discovery. I'm pretty sure. Unfortunately, I didn't get to buy the dip for this one. Let me see. Let me zoom in. But I think I might have my chance because it's starting to come down now. You could see it. Right? So let's see here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, we're right in the bull market support band. So this looks like it's going to come down. Probably backtest over here. And that would be a good buy the dip. But we have to hold in here because it's so scary, right? It's nerve-wracking because it could always just melt down. But if we trust the structure, then, it still looks okay. So, Aave, let me see if we zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, it looks like it needs like one. It looks like it needs a little bit more down. I mean, maybe even taking this low out here. Take that low out. Take that liquidity grab and back test this area. Where's that area at? Right at 244. So maybe I might put a limit order on at around 244. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But there's Aave. Near. It kind of looks like a descending triangle a little bit, but it also could be a falling wedge. Little bit concerning. This one looks bearish. You could see how it kind of humped over. It's probably going to go down, guys. We're probably going to have another dump. AVAX looks like it's about to dump too. Boom, boom. It looks like it wants to come down here. So, Theta Fuel. Theta Fuel is pretty much the same. I mean, it's, you got a big three-way move here. And you have a liquidity grab. So it's going to be about building structure and getting out of there. And that's what I think is going to happen. I just think it's going to take time, though. So ICP, same thing. Let's build structure and go. I mean, they're all the same. Bitcoin dominance is the big one, though. So hopefully this turns into a flat where we have 3 up, We broke the top. We got violently rejected here. And let's come back down. And then it gives the altcoins a better chance at survival. So, not too bad, not too bad. Ethereum Classic, same thing. I mean, they're all the same. SHIB, same thing. Build structure, get out. So that's pretty much it for this video. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Yeah, let's see how it plays out. I want to look real quick at Ethereum, because Ethereum, Donald Trump Jr. or no, Eric Trump tweeted out to buy Ethereum. That's interesting. What does he know, right? I mean, to me, you kind of got an impulse here, and you got a three-way pullback. But I'm not sure what this is and what this is. I don't like that, you know? So maybe we have to hit the low one more time and then go up. WXYXZ. But keep your eyes on Ethereum, because we want Ethereum to do well, because there's a lot of coins that depend on Ethereum. Ethereum and the whole ecosystem has a lot of tokens that run on Ethereum, right? And those are included in the total market cap. So we want the total market cap to do well. And it does look bullish, right? You see this here, right? We have, you can kind of look at it as an inverse head and shoulders, if you will. Or you can kind of look at it as a cup and a handle. You can also look at it as sort of rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. Now we're kind of going sideways here. And then you can also look at it as a three-way pullback. So you have a 1-2, 1-2, you pump up, you have a WXY or a three-wave pullback, right? And then let's go. So we'll see how it all plays out. But pretty much that's about it for this video. I just don't think, let me see, Litecoin looks still pretty good. You got this three-way pullback there. You're on the bull market support band. That's important. So, oh, look at Fetch. Fetch looks like a really good three-way pullback now. Total 3. Very good looking three-way pullback. Right on the bull market support band. Also back testing the bull flag that we broke out of. This is textbook stuff, guys. This is exactly what we. Whoa! Look at freaking Jupiter, man. This is the kind of chart that I really love to see. Look how tight this is, man. This is extremely tight in here. So you're just ranging and ranging and ranging. This is a lot of energy being built up into the chart. So eventually, this thing's going to violently react or violently react. I think it's probably going to go up. I mean, but we'll see, because you have a 1, 3 down, right? It's a very, and then you also have 3 here, and then it looks like you have a very weird fast 3 there. So you have that 3-wave shape technically, and you have higher lows, double bottom, build a little bit of a structure and break out. All right, guys, that'll do it. I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, not financial advice. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.